Before you go any further, look below and click the subscribe button. Welcome to Savvy Business Podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Ambers, and we are going to be talking about a topic today that I know a lot of you may want to hear, and a lot of you are excited to hear because it's been a lot of up and down with hiring, firing, quiet quitting, and all of these other things and terminology that has been born. And we're going to talk about, some of those things, your resume preparing, and, a variety of other things. So get your pen and paper ready so you can take notes. And of course, you can always go back and listen to this over and over and over to make sure that you have all the notes and the tips that you have, because this is going to be a crucial one. So my guest today is Joanne Courtney, and I am so excited to have her on here. We've been talking about it, and it's finally here. It's happening. So, like I normally do, we're going to go in and read a little bit of her bio, and then we're going to jump right in.
Awesome.
Joanne Courtney has worked in recruiting for over 16 years. She worked for ExxonMobil for over 20 years and just finished an assignment working for Wartil Tesila as a talent. Okay, as a talent acquisition manager. She is currently the diversity recruitment specialist at BASF. She has experience in recruiting, training, and diversity and equity. She has always been a part of employee affinity groups for African Americans and women, and mostly recently for the D&I Attract and Recruit Employee Group. Joanne was named 2022 Enrolls Alumni of the Year, South Central Texas Region. She has the Human Resources Chair and Executive Board member for the Houston chapter of the National Black MBA Association. She is originally from New York, attended Howard University, where she graduated with a bachelor's degree in business management and later earned her master's degree in human resources and a certificate in knowledge management for Marymount University. She has a daughter and son and enjoys traveling, doing jigsaw puzzles, and Zumba. After all of that, you need some type of release, some relaxation or something.
Yeah. Yes.
So let's jump right in this thing. We had all of these, new terminologies that's been popping up all over social media, LinkedIn, and all these other places of quiet quitting and all these other things. And, people are starting to realize that they want something different and not just, all right, let me just get up, get dressed, go to work, do my job, and come home. We still want that, but at the same time, we're looking for something that's called respect. That small thing called respect. So as people are trying to get back in this workforce, and whether it's remote, hybrid, whatever the case may be, what are some of the things that, people really should start looking for and change some of their old habits?
So from my perspective, I tell people to do their homework. When you're looking to switch either companies or professions or organizations, do your homework. Try to figure out someone that you know, or someone who knows someone who works either in that industry or for that company, because you really want to understand kind of what are the things that are going to move the needle in those atmospheres. So let's say, for instance, I was in oil and gas for over 20 years. And so when I left oil and gas, now I'm like looking at different industries, and I'm like, I don't know what moves the needle. So I had to do some research to see. I went into a sustainability job, and that was totally opposite of what oil and gas does. Well, they're starting to do it. But anyway, I had to do my research to understand, like what's important to people who go into sustainability, and what's going to move the needle in terms of if I want to get promoted and want to continue to grow my career once I'm in there. Same thing now. Now I work for a chemical company. So now I'm learning all over again. So I'm making networks. I'm trying to, I'm having coffee chats with people, and that might be virtual. because I work from home 3 days a week. So I might just schedule like a 15-minute or 30-minute coffee break with someone. And then at the end of that conversation, it's like, okay, do you have anybody else I should talk to? Because I want to hear, like, what's the culture like? What are people doing? And ideally, you want to have that sense before you accept the job. But I had a pretty good sense of what the company was all about before I accepted. But that's some homework I think that you should do when you're switching.
How many times have you gone store to store looking for the perfect party accessories and could never find that perfect design? So you had to settle for what you could find. Look no further. Party Elements has the perfect party decor for any occasion. From cupcake toppers, candy buffet themes, plate settings with the option of custom plates, wine glasses, custom pins, greeting cards, and so much more. Get your custom or ready-made party accessories for any occasion from Party Elements. At Party Elements, entertaining has never been so stylish. Reach out to Party Elements at partyelements.net or Etsy at Party Elements by SD. That's interesting. You said, about doing your homework and researching. Most of the time, what, most people are used to is when we research, we're looking at, the company, the location, benefits, pay ranges and things like that. But you're taking it deeper than just that. So
Yeah.
how would a person get started with that? Say, they're looking for, we may call it our dream job, but it may not be many of those around. But well, we want to call it close to that dream job of, being hired for. How deep should they go with the research, and what are the things that they should be searching for besides the company benefits and all the common things that people search for?
Yeah. So what I do is I'm a big fan of LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is a magnificent search engine and has a lot of capabilities from that standpoint. So you can start a LinkedIn search with as much information or little as information as you have. So for instance, let's say your dream job is to be a recruiter and you haven't had that experience. Maybe I have a lot of people who have moved from the education world and now they want to go into something in the business world. And a lot of them say, okay, I want to be a recruiter. So what I would do is first off, start by just searching recruiting, recruiter. That's going to bring you up people. That's going to bring you up potentially companies or like temporary agencies that have those types of positions. It's going to bring you up some positions so you can look at job descriptions. But what I would do by doing that search is when you pull up the people who have those job titles, see if there's some connection, because you might be connected, that you might have a common person. And then if you do, then you can also, reach out to that person that you guys both mutually know and say, hey, I see that you're connected to such and such. I'd be really happy if you could make an introduction to me. I'm looking to get into that field. You'd be surprised about how many people are willing to share information about what they've been doing, how they got there, what are some pitfalls to look out for. We are very, as humans, we are more interested in a lot of times helping others avoid some of the mistakes maybe that we've made along the way. And so, reaching out to people like that would be a way I would start. And then I always tell people, don't be afraid to use your personal networks. Like you might have an aunt or a cousin, someone who goes to your church. Reach out to them, start speaking into the atmosphere, what it is that you want to do. You'd be surprised by how many people are like, oh, recruiting. Oh, I know such and such. I can put you in touch, and so use that as a way to find out information about the industry or the position that you might be interested in beyond just, of course, doing your research on the job or the company.
What are your thoughts on what I call resume adjustments? When we see, job descriptions, we read everything, see what's in there, and we go to our resume and try to, tweak it to hit those hot spots or the hot words to hopefully attract the right people to get the interview and of course eventually get hired. What are your thoughts on doing that?
I think that's definitely spot on. So that's what you want to do. You want to customize your resume to the job that you're applying for. And so first thing you want to look at, what are the skills that are required? What are they asking you to do in that position? And then you want to craft your resume in a way that it says that you can do those things. Now, of course, don't lie. So if you can't do those things, don't write that down. But if there's a way to reframe, some of your information might be, again, I'm going to go back to my example, because I've had quite a few educators who want to switch out of that industry, right? And so, they're like, well, I don't know, how do I make that sound like not education, and it's like, okay, well, you're working with the public, you're working with students, you're working with parents, you're working with other counselors, that's kind of, like that could be customer service, you can turn that into a customer service type bullet. You can turn that into, working well with others. And, you just kind of have to look at it in a different angle. But first off, start with what the job description is asking, and then try to find a way to make what you're doing or what you've done fit into that mold. And so sometimes that's hard. A lot of times it's easier than you think. You just have to really be, sit down and spend some time with it. Or have somebody look at it with you and kind of make those decisions to help you kind of craft your resume into that. But yeah, I definitely I'm a big fan of tweaking the resume, because there's also a lot of artificial intelligence out there that are screening out resumes before a human being ever even sees it, based on keywords. So if those keywords are not even in your resume that match up to that job description, a human probably won't even see it. So yeah, definitely a big fan.
Wow. What do you think about, assessments? There's a lot of them out there, and you have your Kobe, you have DISC, you have Strength Finder, and I'm sure so many more. What are your thoughts on not only taking those assessments to help understand you, but to help with some of the wording and things that you do and how you really interact with other people?
Yeah. So I would say I'm, again, big fan of assessments. I've taken, oh gosh, probably over my career, maybe about 5 or 6 different ones, and they're all pretty much consistent with who I am
Yep,
as a person.
they
So
are.
I would say they, if you get one of those good ones, you're really gonna find out a lot about yourself or validate some of the things that you already thought about yourself. And so
Mhm.
yeah, the breakdown that you get after you take it, those words, those phrases, those that information can be very valuable with not only how you can build your resume, but even what jobs and what industries to
Yeah.
concentrate on based on what your strengths are.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I definitely a big fan of that. I also have people do just a simple little free assessment of themselves. I tell people, grab a piece of paper, write down all the things that you are really good at or all the things that you really love to do. And then write down in the next column all the things that you wish you could never do again. Even if they paid you double, you wouldn't be interested in doing that type of work. And then
Yeah.
concentrate on that side that has all the stuff that you really enjoy doing. And then
Mhm.
try to figure out what are the skills that you're actually identifying, and see how many times those skills are repeated. And then kind of from there, once you build the skill part out, then you figure out, okay, now what industry or what job do these skills match up with? They sound like they work for. And then from there, you can kind of start building your job and building your experiences from.
Because I do. I love them too. And this is how much I had to pull
What?
this back because I knew I was talking to you.
What?
I've done the same thing. I've taken probably 4, I think 4 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
They're all printed, and I have
Ooh.
them in a spiral bound, and I have my little tabs and stuff that takes me to the page about my work. And I did it spiral because I like spiral, so you can do it like this and
Right.
So I printed them, and I went to the print place. I said, look, I want it coiled. I don't know if you got one big enough to fit this, but this is what I want. And I did that. I put my tabs on it. So
Mhm.
I will say, yes, that she is
Mhm.
absolutely right about these
Mhm.
assessments. Because once you take them, you start to read them and you be like, this sounds good. Wait,
That's
I
me.
do that, don't I? Wait, oh, that's what I do that. Oh, that's why that person been getting on my nerves.
Mhm.
Uh,
Mhm. Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing on how simple the questions are,
Yeah.
but it gather everything that you do and it, puts this out. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a fan
Validate.
of assessments too. So I suggest that to everybody too. So look, you got
Mhm.
two people telling you go do it. Take you some
Go do it.
assessments.
Yep. Do it. Do it. It's well worth it. Well worth it.
So for one other thing I want to comment on too, even though like just like here, you sent me your bio and everything, but for resumes, having professional headshots. I know it's your resume. I know it's, I'm just going to go get a job, but how strongly can you iterate to have some professional headshots? Because you never know when they're going to ask you for a picture or a prime example. If you're on LinkedIn, that's a business, social media platform. Having those
Mhm.
professional shots and not selfies of, in front of the closet door or in the parking lot, or you went to eat, but you tried to crop out some of the background.
Some of the
Let's
people.
talk about that.
So yeah, I am definitely a fan of a professional headshot. I think those are very important because again, impressions are important, right? You only get that one chance to make that first impression. Now, of course, you have other chances to make up for it later on, but the first impression, you really want to put your best foot forward. So I think and especially LinkedIn profile. I know there are still people out there who don't want to put any picture and things like that. They're gonna find out. They're gonna find out. So you might as well just go and tell them it's fine. And if it doesn't work out, then that wasn't supposed to be for you anyway. So I say go ahead and get the professional headshot done. I agree. No selfies. Get somebody that knows what they're doing to take a nice picture of you. No screaming loud. Try to
Yeah.
just be calm and get it done. But I don't
Yeah.
believe in them for resumes. I don't believe in headshots on resumes. Now I do see in Europe, that's a big thing, to put pictures, and other countries too, other parts of the world. It's they put pictures on resumes, but here in the US, that's not really a thing that we promote. So when I see a picture on a resume, I say, you don't really need that on the resume. If they want more information, that's what your LinkedIn profile is for. If they need to see
Yep.
you or if they want to see more about you, then have them go there. But yeah, I am a big fan of a headshot, a good headshot.
And I mean, for say if you just really don't have the budget to go pay to get some headshots done, these cell phones are amazing taking pictures.
True. That is
It's
true.
a really
Very.
quick thing that you could do is not in front of a white wall or anything, but if you have a solid colored sheet, a thick sheet, not a
Mhm,
little paper thin sheet, but a thick
mhm,
sheet, iron the wrinkles out of it,
mhm.
and,
Yes.
and put it in a place and have someone to, be in light. If you got a ring light, fine. If not, make sure that you're under a light or something so the lighting can be good, and have someone just to take a really nice one with, your cell phone.
Hmm.
That
That's true.
usually can, come out pretty good if you do it the right way, but you want a really nice, like solid background. And a lot of times if you don't have, a nice sheet or something in the background,
Mhm,
here's a quick tip. Go
mhm,
to a furniture store. I don't care who it is. Go
mhm.
to a furniture store, find you an area where it's not a lot of stuff, but you can find a nice background and
Yep.
go in that furniture store or a hotel lobby,
Hmm.
take your picture.
Yeah, yeah, because
That's
they have nice accent walls. That's
yep,
a good point. That's a good one. I hadn't
yep,
thought about that one. I was
yep,
gonna recommend also there are organizations that will often give
yes.
you free headshots, So
Mhm.
when I was with National Black in Houston, we sponsored, like, it was called like Headshots and Handshakes. So it was a networking event, but it
Mhm.
also gave some discounted prices for
Mhm.
professional headshots. And that's one of my headshots for my LinkedIn profile right now. So he did a great job. It was, a
Mhm.
professional photographer that did it, had the backgrounds and
Yeah.
everything, gave you different poses to choose from. So look for networking events too that might either give you free headshots or discounted price headshots. So yeah, that's important too.
Yeah. Okay. What are some resume no-nos?
Whew. Oh
Mm.
Lord. A
Do
lot.
we
So
have time?
every So I'm gonna go to the picture first. Reiterate, I would not put a photo on a resume. Um, a lot of times people get caught up in the job description, meaning that what they did on their job, what the job description said,
Mhm.
responsible for, you
Yep.
know, counting 12, counting sheets or something like that.
Yeah.
We
Mhm.
don't care about that on the resume. We care about what did you specifically do. So did you count sheets? And if you counted sheets, how many? So you definitely want to quantify, not leave it like wide open. Don't make it sound like it's just your job description that's
Mhm.
down, but tell us what you specifically did. Make sure, and this is a big one, make sure it's under 2 pages, 2 pages or less. You can't have a 5-page resume. I have seen 5-page resumes. I've seen 6-page resumes with a 10 font. Nobody's gonna read that. No, recruiters have a short attention span. It might be 30 seconds. It might actually be less than 30 seconds if we're
You
not
need to
getting
be able
that.
to scan, find them hot
Right,
words.
exactly. And if we're not
Mhm.
seeing that and we're just seeing a
Yeah.
bunch of blah, 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 blah,
Mhm.
it's going in the trash. It's not, no one's going to view it. So pick out your important points that you want to concentrate on, mostly quantifiable data. So numbers, we love to see numbers. Even if we don't understand what the job is, most people will understand a dollar sign, a dollar figure, or a number of people that you managed, or a
Mhm.
number of things that you were responsible for. That type of information is something that's going to stand out to us. I also tell people to eliminate fluff. So it's nice that, you feel like, you are a customer service driven person, but it should be proven. Like that shouldn't just be your statement. It should be like, I, assisted 12 customers on correcting errors in their reporting, saving them 20 minutes or an hour. I don't know, I'm just making up stuff, but it should be
Right.
very specific, not like kind of fluffy stuff. So I hope that helps a little bit.
No, absolutely. I mean, because that's it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's not fluffing this conversation. Is what it is that
Yep.
um that it is fluff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this is not a dig at anybody. So please, whoever's
Mm-hmm.
heated. But
Mm-hmm.
if you have that, you were a car washer, simply say, I was, a car washer. We turned around X number, the other day
Vehicles.
with
Mm-hmm.
minimal,
Mm-hmm.
complaints or upset, whatever, however you want to word that, and
Mm-hmm.
just simply say that. Not, um, I was a professional detailer that did this and did that, and you washed the car.
You washed the
You know?
car. You did that
So
well. That's
yeah,
important.
and
Right.
and just say, because of this, your reviews will say that. And that's
Mm-hmm.
the other thing too, and maybe we should hit on that too, is when you are on these jobs and you're in reviews
Mm-hmm.
and that manager is going over these various things, giving you pointers and whether it's a good or bad review, because it could go either way. But
Mm-hmm.
if it's a good review, make sure that you ask the questions. What percentage was that? Because a lot of times you
Mm-hmm.
don't have access to, certain numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Ask, what percentage was
Mm-hmm.
that?
Yep.
How did we improve? Or if it is, if it's the opposite direction that, you just wasn't getting it because of XYZ,
Mm-hmm.
ask,
Mm-hmm.
specifically, what is that? How, what was the percentage that dropped because of XYZ? Because one is going to really help you understand what happened, why it happened, and how you could prevent it from happening again.
Okay.
But if it's a good one, okay, we really know that we're on the right path, and now you're going to pay more attention to what you're doing and how you're doing it to minimize wasted time and making sure you're using the most efficient systems or processes, whatever the case may be. So ask those questions to give you specifics. And not only that, that's going to help you with your resume.
Oh, I was gonna say that.
You're the professional. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'll let you
No, I
talk
was
about
gonna
that.
say that. I was gonna say that. Oftentimes, that's where we'll start when we're doing a revision to a resume. Is I'll ask for those performance reviews, because that's what you had to write out. What did you do? You know,
Yeah.
that period, that performance period. You know, send me 1 or 2 performance period. Let me pull out some of the bullets out of those and make them go into your resume. That's perfect material to start with when you're looking at your resume, revamping your resume. Start there.
Who you surround yourself with really does matter. The people you associate with and spend time with have a huge impact on who you become and what you do in your life. Hi, my name is Jeff Hagee, and I want to tell you about my Inner Circle Mastermind group. This is a group that's designed to surround you with like-minded high achievers who will help you to think bigger and amplify the performance of your business and your life while tearing down all the barriers that are holding you back. A mastermind is the fastest way to get you to the next level. If you're ready to network and connect with other successful entrepreneurs and influencers, go to coachhagee.com/mastermind.
What do you say about people that feel like they don't want to sound, it's like they don't want to sound like they're bragging or boasting.
Oh,
But I always go back to the say, you know, if you don't toot your own horn, who will?
the horn will not be tooted. I had a minister that used to say that if you don't toot your own horn, no one will toot it for you. So
Yeah.
yeah, the resume, the interview, those are the times when you want to share what your accomplishments have been. You want to put your best foot forward. You want to talk about all of that. Don't leave anything out. Don't think of it as boasting. A lot of times people of color have been told, you know, over the years, don't do that. Just let your work speak for yourself. Well, that doesn't really work anymore, or it didn't work. I don't even think it ever worked. But
No.
what you really want to do is you really want to talk about what you did, and people are not going to take it in an offensive way. They're going to take it like, oh wow, okay, wow, you did that. And especially a lot of times we don't even get recognized for all the things that we do. So use this as an opportunity to say everything that you wanted to say about all of your accomplishments. Of course, making sure that they are meaningful to the job that you're applying for.
Right.
But yeah, this is the time to talk all about.
Do you want to be known as the subject matter expert in your industry? Scan the QR code today to take advantage of the $200 discount for a brand assessment. The assessment will give you a summary of how your brand can step up a notch to get noticed. We have been seen in various platforms and have gained credibility and are known as the subject matter expert for digital media and branding. Sign up today for a brand assessment and a one-on-one consultation with me, Melissa Ambers. Don't get left behind. It's time for your brand to stand out. Yep. So let's talk about you and your services. If someone was to come to you and say, I need help, I don't know what I'm doing, here's my one-page resume, and how can you help me? Tell us about your services.
Yeah, so what I do is I do resume critiques. I actually do career advice. I do mock interviews, kind of the whole spectrum of the career search and journey. And especially for people who are like that, who are like, I don't know what to try next. I don't know where to go next. This isn't working for me. I don't like it. Help me figure out where my next move is. Those are the people I really love to engage with. And so what I do is first of all, have a conversation, which is a non-binding conversation. It's just a free chat where I get to know the person a little bit and try to understand where it is that they're trying to go or what it is they like doing. Take some notes from there, and then discuss kind of what my services entail in terms of price. And then from there, if they want to proceed, they'd send me their resume. Everything's done virtually, so very easy. Doesn't matter where you are in the world. I've done people's resume in Africa, so I've done everything. But you send me the resume. I'll do a first draft. I'll send it back to you. And then we would actually have another discussion, another phone call where I would go line by line to explain, why did I take this out? Or why did I add this? Or what I did. I want you to be on board, because I tell people, it's something to put together a resume that's beautiful and everything. But if I give it back to you and you don't recognize yourself in the resume, then we've kind of made a mistake. You have to be able to defend what it is that I'm writing for you. So we have to be on the same page. So we go through the resume, we go through my changes, and then we talk about edits at that point. And then I go away and I do some more edits, and then I bring back another version. Usually at that point is where I'm pretty much done. Usually I don't get any more, but sometimes we're like, okay, well, let's tweak this, or maybe this didn't sound right. So we'll do like 2 edits. And then if for some reason we still go beyond that, then there's some additional charges that'll have to happen at that point. But I've never really had to do that. Like usually after that first edit, we have a discussion, we'll do the last version, and then we're done. So usually within a week, no more than 2 weeks, depending on how busy I am, I can turn a resume all the way around.
Okay. You mentioned that you do mock interviews as well.
Yes. Yes.
This one question that I think a lot of people get hung up on, and when they're asked this question, they go more into self instead of accomplishments.
Okay.
And that question is, tell me about yourself.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, that one can be a tricky one, because it really does sound like you want to know like where I was born and where I was raised and what I've done since I was 6. And no, it really is about kind of your career. Like, tell me about without saying that, they're really asking like, tell me about what you've done. And that kind of should be your, people have heard of a 30-second elevator pitch. Like, who are you? That should be that time when that comes out. Yeah, you can sprinkle a little bit of personal in there if you want. I usually always say, and I'm from New York, or something like that, just something little personal in there. But it really is asking about, what have your accomplishments been? What has your career path been like? And then you can also talk a little bit about why you're interested in that job. But again, it should be compact, 30 seconds or less. And then kind of go from there. They're just kind of setting the scene, trying to feel you out a little bit and understand who you are. And are you articulate? Can you talk? Can you explain who you are? Can you explain, do you know who you are? It's trying to get at that. That's what that question gets at.
And one more question about when you are being interviewed. And once that interview is over, it typically always ends. Do you have any questions for me? Most people like, no, I don't have any questions, because we're just into, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I want to say everything right because I want to get this job. But preparing yourself for those questions, at least 3 to 4, you may say different, but at least 3 to 4 questions. Research the company, see what you can find on the position. And if you can't find anything, for me, what I've done is ask, is this a new position, or did the person recently leave? And so it's different things that you can do that one, and if the person that's interviewing you have a problem with you asking any questions, you probably don't want to be there, because it's going to be, trying to work with them. So your thoughts on asking questions, preparing those questions, so once that interview is over, you have those questions to ask.
Yeah, you definitely have to have some questions ready. I have probably a list of about 15 to 20 questions that I've kind of compiled over the years. And I'll just kind of play around with whichever ones are, important to me that I want to know at the time, that I maybe want additional information. It could be as simple as, tell me about what a typical day in this position is like. Tell me about why you like this company, and is there anything that you don't like about this company? It could be those types of questions, because that's getting at company culture. That's getting at your work schedule and how much you're going to be expected to work. So those are questions that you should be asking. And if you don't ask a question, interviewers are like, oh, well, she or he must not be that interested in my job if they're not asking me any additional questions. If I'm the only person, if I'm the interviewer and I'm the only person interviewing, there's something wrong with that picture. An interview should be just as much you interviewing the interviewer as they are interviewing you. So you should definitely be getting those at least three to four. I'd say that's about average questions out before your interview ends.
All right. Well, tell everybody how they can reach you, get in touch with you, follow you, all of that good stuff.
Yeah, so my name is Joanne, and it's Joanne, last name Courtney, Courtney. I am on LinkedIn, so please find me and send me a friend request, or they don't call it friend request, but send me a request. And then if you are interested in my services, my email address is eventitcareer. So EVENTIT career @gmail.com. Send me an email and we'll set up a meeting to chat.
All right. Thank you so much for jumping on and having a discussion.
Yay! Thank you so much. It's a lot of fun.
Follow us on our Instagram at SavvyMagBiz and on our YouTube channel, Savvy, the Business Podcast. Thank you for joining us on Savvy, the Business Podcast. If you want to be a guest, send an email to media@savvymag.biz. That's media@savvymag.biz. Don't miss out on the opportunity to be heard by millions.